So you may or may not believe this, but what I just played started out as a very simple 3-chord progression. Then I added a little extra chord in there, and then I just spent some time playing around with those little runs, little fills, and the next thing you know, I was playing what you just heard. And it was pretty, right? So I want to teach you, I want to walk you through my process for how I can take something simple and then build it out to create something that makes me feel inspired and creative and just excited to be at the piano. So let's dive in. Step 1, let's learn the chords. So the first chord I used was a B flat chord. So B flat, D, and F. And I actually kind of played around with a normal B flat chord, and I also like to use the sus version of that. So if you're comfortable here, you can get rid of that third tone and swap it for the second. So you get B flat, C, and F. Just a slightly different sound. So this B flat sus 2 or B flat. The second chord I used was a D minor, D, F, and A. And the third chord I used was a C, C, E, and G. And so to begin, let's just play through those chords in root position really simply. And I'm going to count this out because I did a little bit of a push in there, and that's what gives this little riff a bit of character. So I'm going to match the bottom note of my chord with my left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We'll add the extra chord in just a minute because this takes a bit to get used to. So count 1 and 2 and 3 is when we move to the D minor. And 4 and is when we move to the C. So the C comes on the and of the 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 what did I do? Okay, so that was the next step. We're gonna add in that extra little chord because this is pretty. But it feels like that could get a little boring after a while. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to show you what I did. So I went from my B flat to my D minor to my C, and then I just transitioned and put this left hand onto A. Now you could keep your right hand here. That actually sounds really cool. And then back into your cycle, B flat, D minor, C, 2, 2. Or you could build an F chord. So F, A, and C on top. You can play it inverted, A, C, and F if that's easier for you. But I feel like it sounds really good staying on the C. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 then you've got it. And 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so it might take you a little bit to get the hang of that, and I have to be perfectly honest with you. The first time I ever had to play that little push, you know how we moved to the C on the and of the 4? It took me forever. And I've been playing the piano for a long time. But rhythmically, it was really hard for me to do. So if you're watching this and you're trying to play along and you're like, oh, why can't I get that on time? Totally normal. It's just going to take some practice. It's really helpful to count out loud. So keep that in mind as you go. So once you're cozy there, this is where you get to start getting creative by breaking up the notes of the chord. And that's usually where I start when I'm trying to create like a fill or a riff or a run or just something that's a little more interesting than my solid chords. And so what I mean by that is if I'm here, I might play the notes separately, which sounds exactly like Betty Davis' eyes. Her hair was hollow gold. Okay, I'm gonna focus. Back to the progression. We're gonna play this B flat chord, and I'm gonna suggest that you could play bottom, middle, top, 1 and 2, and you could go to a root position, D minor, 3 and 4, and make sure you're landing on that C shape on the end of the 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you want to use inversions, B flat to D minor is this simple, because you need D, F, and A for D minor. And look, you already have D and F. So if you move your B flat down, it's a really easy way to get through the chords. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you see how magic can start to happen here, because this is where you can start to think outside the box. So instead of just playing up, up, bottom, middle, top, middle, you could go 2, 3, 4. I love that pulsing on the C because it feels like it just anchors you where you're supposed to go. And again, I'm just talking you through my process. Once you get started on this idea, you could take a completely different direction. But this is how it kind of came together for me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2. And my hand just wanted to go to that F there instead of the C. Both sound good. So play around with that. Break up the notes of the chord until you find what feels really good for you, what's good for your ears. And then the last thing I did was I just added a little like mini scale into the mix on the C chord. So I'll show you that next. So we've got our B flat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. That's quick. 2, 3 and. So what I did was so you have to be ready. It's ready to go. So why don't I do that a little more slowly? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. You could change this to ascending. Ooh, I actually really like that. When you ascend that little C scale, C, D, E, F, it gives it a totally different feeling. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I feel like I probably played the timing wrong there because I was kind of lost in La La Land. But you get the idea. So the most important things. Learn that progression and get comfortable with that little bit of timing. And 4. And when you're ready, 2, 3. This guy comes in on the 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Then start to play with breaking up the chords. This is challenging at first. When you're ready, go for it. Bottom, middle, or top, middle, bottom, middle, whatever you want. Change your shape. You can go inversions or root positions. Don't forget that push. You can pulse here. 2, 3, 4. And when you're ready, you can add in the 2, 3, 4. Just start that little scale run on the 4 and be done by the time you have to go back to the new 1 so that you can repeat the pattern all over again. And after you spend some time with this, it's going to sound uniquely your own, and you're going to feel amazing. So I hope this challenges you, and I hope it inspires you, and I hope that it gives you something that you can have fun with, because honestly, sky's the limit. And then you can pick your own 3 chords and your own rhythm and begin to use these same principles there. So play up high. I use the sus one there this time. Does that sound pretty? Probably gonna be here for hours now because this is so much fun. So you go practice and I'll just stay here playing for a bit.